little details that some people find interesting, of course, but the detail about what is going to be agreed here is what we, of course, are all focusing on. What do you think is likely to happen here?
Well, it sounds like that, as you said, they're a lot more relaxed with each other. I think that we won't get a big deal that will come out of this meeting. It's an initial meeting. Kim has already talked about perhaps following up, and we could see a meeting maybe in Washington to follow. What the world is waiting, of course, we're reading the behavior, and even the menu makes a difference because that's sort of the gastro diplomacy. That really matters to show that they're coming together even over food and drink, which is so important, especially in Asia. It drives a lot of politics. But as far as the details of the meeting, right now we want to have the two getting along. They have so much that they need from each other. Respectability. Trump, of course, at home is continually coming under fire in domestic politics, and the country is so divided about him. But if he could pull this off with Kim, and of course we know that Kim needs the United States here to try to save his economy even. It's beyond just weapons. It's not just about denuclearization. There won't be any meeting of the minds on denuclearization today. I think for all of us, we're just struck at the fact that already these two have made history.
Nancy, you said there that there may be a likelihood that the two may meet in Washington. I mean, that really is quite something to say, given the fact that how long it's taken to get here and have a dialogue on neutral ground. Do you really think that is a possibility in the short term?
I think it is a possibility, because who would have expected that there would be this initial suggestion in March, just a few short months ago, that Trump jumped on and said, yes, I'll meet with Kim. And then we saw how Trump sort of ended the Singapore summit meeting and then abruptly had a change of mind. It's hard to follow all of this, but I think that we can't rule out any possibility here. And back to my point about respectability, his being hosted, Kim Jong-un being hosted in Washington would be extraordinary. It doesn't disregard his record, what this regime is all about, how people live in North Korea, but it is about his willingness to show some good faith now. You can't erase history. You don't want to erase history. But his country and he himself, they have been under a lot of caricature and prejudice. There's no question about it. And so to go to Washington would be the ultimate prize. And I think Trump, where is he most comfortable? Of course, it would be Mar-a-Lago. I mean, imagine that. It seems very remote, but you can't rule out anything. Day by day, hour by hour, there seems to be some new development when it comes to these two.
Nancy, just very briefly, you're in Tokyo, of course, a lot of conversation about how Shinzo Abe may be reacting to this. What is your take on what he might be thinking right now?
I think that Japan feels a little bit out of the mix here. Japan has been pushing hard, Shinzo Abe in particular, on negotiating regarding the kidnapped Japanese. That's been a long time thorn between these two countries. And of course, the U.S.-Japan Security Alliance plays very strongly here. But Japan is very much in alignment with the United States. And if this goes well for Trump, I don't think that this would rule out Japan then having a follow-up meeting either with Kim or with Moon. There are so many players here, even China and Russia, that help to coordinate this. And that would suggest a meeting with many more parties in the future. That makes it more complicated because then there's a lot more deal making potentially that goes on. But right now, I think we would like to see these two get along so that it is the beginning of continued dialogue to follow, because working out the details is where the breakdowns are likely to occur. And right now, you want to build up credibility and goodwill And you do that by, at the end of this meeting, saying, we're going to have a follow-up meeting. Even if they don't announce where it will be, that would be promising that they are going to continue to agree to meet.
Okay, Nancy, thank you very much for your view there. Nancy Snow there, live in Tokyo. Just to update you, you are watching BBC News on this breaking news event, unprecedented moment here in Singapore, where the summit is underway, a historic summit between US President Donald Trump and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Just to give you a sense of what is happening right now, we understand that the men